and your City Council agenda.
Good morning, Laramie. This is your preview of the City Council's activities for the week of February 9th, 2026. And on the agenda for Tuesday night are some work sessions. They'll be held in the City Council chambers at 406 Ivinson Avenue on Tuesday night. That's tomorrow night, February 10th, 2026, starting at 6 o'clock p.m. You can attend in person by going to City Hall at 406 Ivinson Avenue. You can watch on YouTube if you search for City of Laramie, or if you go to the City of Laramie website at cityoflaramie.org/agenda center, you can find the agenda, and there is a Zoom link there that will allow you to participate remotely if you want. You can not only watch the meeting, but when there is public comment, you can get up to 3 minutes to comment. And, there are a series of interesting topics on tap for this coming Tuesday night. Again, it's a work session, so no decisions are going to be made at the meeting, but there are going to be presentations and opportunities for the public to comment. The work session is going to begin, as usual, with a general public comment period where you can bend council's ear for 3 minutes on any topic of your choosing that's not going to be covered later in the evening. After that, there are a series of work sessions. The first one is the Life Saving Awards, which are going to be presented by Brian Brown, our police chief. And there's no information on the agenda at exactly who is going to receive an award, but this is obviously going to be an award to first responders for saving lives, and be interested in watching that session. The second work session of the evening is a presentation related to possible building code updates. And this is interesting to anyone who builds anything in Laramie, who gets renovations done, who gets any work done that requires a building permit. And the administration, I have the description of the session here. It says that the policy goal is to protect the health and safety of the public by regulating minimum requirements for new and existing buildings, facilities, storage, and processes, and to regulate and govern the safeguarding of life and property from deficiencies in design, construction, and maintenance of buildings that are occupied or will be occupied in the future. That's a lot of verbiage, but essentially it has to do with the enforcement of building codes and contractor licensing. Now, up to a few years ago, we've had building codes forever, but up to a few years ago, we didn't have contractor licensing. And when that regime was imposed several years ago, it really was a seismic event. Suddenly, certain people who were doing work in Laramie that you could hire to do various things to your building couldn't do it anymore. You couldn't pull a permit anymore to do the things. Only a licensed contractor could pull a permit. And so suddenly the entire situation changed. If you wanted to build anything, if you wanted to do any renovations, basically suddenly there was a whole lot more regulation. And there was a meeting on December 12th, 2026, and I attended it, where the contractors got together with city officials and talked about the issues that they'd have related to building code enforcement. Now, the meeting was intended, it said, to give contractors a voice in how building codes affect the way they build and construct in our community. Really, there were two main themes to the contractors' comments. The first was that once they did work, they'd pulled a permit, they'd done work, and they were trying to get it inspected. The city inspectors weren't always very good about coming out and vetting their work. And they were spending time, which they had to charge the customers for, to waiting for the inspector to come by before they could and sign off on the work before they could finish. And, the city apparently is a bit understaffed in this area, and it's a problem that unfortunately it wants to regulate, but it doesn't actually have enough people to enforce the regulations in a streamlined way. The second one, and this is the second point that came up, and this is a point that I definitely agree with as an engineer, was that the city was too quick to adopt new codes, new building codes, and new electrical codes, and other such things. Um, the electricians, in particular, are complaining that the 2026 electrical code was going to greatly increase the cost of doing any sort of new construction or renovation. And well, as an engineer, I can tell you that's definitely true. The reason why has to do with the way the building codes are made. The electrical code is made by an organization called the NFPA, the National Fire Protection Agency. And what they do is every 3 years they come out with a new version of the code book for electrical work, and the NEC, or National Electrical Code. And this is a thick book. This is as thick as telephone books used to be. And it describes every detail of how you have to do electrical work. Well, they have meetings in between the releases of these books where people get to come in and recommend changes and additions to the code. And apparently, over the last several years, the people who have come in to recommend these things have been the manufacturers of electrical equipment, and they are recommending more complex, more sophisticated, and more costly equipment. So it used to be that maybe you'd spend a few $100s, several $100s at most, to revise the electrical service to your house. Well, they're recommending expensive new equipment, including circuit breakers, which don't cost $20 anymore, but now cost $70 or $80 each for your building. And so suddenly the cost of just wiring wiring any place for electrical service has skyrocketed. Well, the contractors are concerned about this because they want to be able to charge their customers a reasonable amount for the equipment and for the labor. And so they were urging the city not to adopt the latest electrical code just off the bat without thinking about it. Now, other cities have done the same thing. If you look at major cities around the country, some of them are running on the 2023 electrical code. Some of them are running, they go clear back to 2014 in the electrical codes that they've adopted. And the reason why they haven't updated this is simply because it's too expensive. This is very important, and I hope the point is made to council that if their goal is to provide affordable housing and to stimulate the growth of businesses in Laramie, they should not just adopt the latest and greatest new code. Again, it's the result of lobbying, not necessarily good reasons to make things safer, and it's not necessarily a good thing. If you're interested in this subject, again, you'll get an opportunity to comment as a member of the public this coming Tuesday night. And again, if you run any kind of business, if you're thinking of building anything, if you're thinking of having work done on your house, you may want to comment on this. So that's the main thing. That's the main thing about this work session that's interesting. The next work session on Tuesday night is going to be a staff presentation on the Forge Laramie Comprehensive Planning Effort. Now, what is that? Okay, well, state statute now requires that every city in Laramie have a comprehensive plan for land use and other things related to that. Basically, you have to have a plan for how, if you annex new land, how it's going to be zoned, what you do with existing zoning, other things related to land use, including your municipal utilities, things like that. And so the city the city of Laramie has not updated its comprehensive plan since 2007. And so the Forge Laramie Comprehensive Planning Effort is an effort to update that. Now, there's some controversy with regard to these comprehensive plans. I mean, famously, the Soviet Union used to do 5-year plans, and they were hamstrung by those plans because they couldn't, with those plans in place, they couldn't react quickly to current events. When something major happened in the world, they were stuck with this plan which didn't necessarily reflect the future. And, well, that's equally true on the city of Laramie municipal level. And unfortunately, some good things that we might have done in Laramie, such as allowing digital billboards, we're hamstrung by the fact that way back in 2007, the comprehensive plan talked about eliminating most, if not all, billboards. And so we need to be careful about how we formulate this plan, how specific it is. We've got to do it, but how specific it is and how inflexible it is. Now, the city of Laramie has been holding various events, including surveys and a booth at the farmers market and a pop-up in downtown Laramie at the end of Grand Avenue, where it's supposedly solicited input from the public about how the comprehensive plan should be modified. Unfortunately, a lot of what you see is more like a museum exhibit than a solicitation of public input. If you go to the pop-up, if you monitor the discussions about the plan, it's more prescriptive than it is soliciting input, and that's unfortunate. I think the public should be more involved in this. I think it should definitely comment at the meeting with regard to what we do with this plan as it goes forward. But the most important thing we need to advise council to do is not set too many things in stone. Laramie is, well, we're a small city. We have to be reactive, and we have to be able to react quickly to economic trends. Even simple things such as the legislature potentially cutting the UW budget. We can't just set a plan in stone for 20-odd years. And okay, we're coming up to the 20th anniversary of the original comprehensive plan, and we can see how things didn't fit. So my advice to members of the public is get involved. Go to that pop-up, which is operating downtown Wednesday through Friday. Again, it's down at the end of Grand Avenue in a rented space. You can make an appointment to talk to the staff about it at other times, but the best way to do it is really to go to it when it's open. And comment on this. Make sure that we're not locking ourselves into a plan that isn't sufficiently flexible for the future. So anyway, that's that work session item. And then there's finally one more work session item, and that is called Civic Sense. And that is basically what's going to be discussed there is the continuing effort to make city finances more transparent. That's going to be presented by Jennifer Wade, the Administrative Services Director, who is sort of the master accountant for the city. And, well, according to the description, the city's finance division, collaborating with the city manager's office, has been working to improve financial transparency for the past several years, and they're going to be talking about their accomplishments. They're going to be talking about individual financial topics that that are of interest, and just generally having a short presentation about city budgeting and about how the public can monitor that. If you're interested in that, definitely watch the work session and comment on it. One of the concerns, again, that that the public may have about this is that yes, you can see you can see what's going on inside the city a little better, and that's a good thing. But can you influence it? Can you what are the city's priorities in spending? And the public may want to comment on that. So anyway, finally, there's another public comment period at the end of the meeting related to the Civic Sense item, and then a session where there are going to be city council updates and council comments and a review of the agenda for the following Tuesday's meeting. There is no, at the time I looked at the website, there was no preliminary agenda posted, so we'll have to see what they have planned for the following Tuesday. And that is your summary of what's going to happen on this coming Tuesday night. A lot of interesting topics, something for everyone probably, and I think it's going to be an interesting evening. I definitely plan to be monitoring what's happening there.
Also starting today, Brett, is the 2026 Wyoming Legislature. This session, a 20-day session, and as L. Cameron, earlier guest, noted, 10 a.m. there'll be a state address by Governor Gordon, and that from the Capitol. Viewable, I was hoping that you might share exactly how people access the system to view those proceedings, as well as perhaps the difference in how you subscribe or get on the list of approved people in cases of potential testimony that you might be interested in speaking on a topic where it's allowed by the public.
Okay, this is a topic which could take another hour by itself. The State of the State address is going to be accessible through the governor's website. If you go to the go to the state website, state.wy.us, you can find the governor's portion of the site. You can find a link to the video. I believe it's also going to be on YouTube. The State of the State address usually is an opportunity for the governor, who is now a lame duck, to talk about policy and his general goals for the state while he remains as governor. Of course, this coming year is going to be very exciting. We're going to have campaigns to for the next governor, and that's going to be interesting as well. But in general, he's going to state his goals. May give some hints as to what he's going to approve from that comes out of the legislature, what he's going to veto. In Wyoming, the governor has veto power, has line item veto power. And this is a budget session, so things that come out of the legislature, various budget items, can be vetoed by the governor. But he doesn't actually get to state what's in it. That's going to be, that has been wrangled over by the state appropriations, the joint interim appropriations committee, and is surely going to be wrangled over more during the session. And both houses have to agree. They start out with bills that mirror one another going into the session, and then each house of the legislature can modify things, and then they have to get together in conference and agree whether to adopt the changes from the other house. So it's a complicated process, and the budget session is only 20 days. It's a short one, so the budget is going to be the main topic. It's going to be fast and furious. And if you go to the legislature, it's as a member of the public, unfortunately, you do not have the kind of knowledge and access that the lobbyists have. You can still see some of these sessions and some of these meetings as things are as things are worked out. Probably the most impactful thing for Laramie residents is what happens to UW's budget. The legislature originally proposed cutting $40 million from the university's budget, and is now backing off on cuts to certain areas. But as you'll expect, the back-offs are on politically convenient things, not necessarily on things which would keep the university going in general. Especially on energy-related things. You'll note that they're backing off on cutting those things. There's a lot of talk about politically biasing the way the university teaches one way or another, or claims that they're eliminating bias. And that's going to be another hot topic as the legislature works things out. It'll also be interesting to see what other bills are considered beyond the budget. There needs to be a 2/3 vote before a House bill or a Senate file can even be considered during a budget session, because time is so short. And it'll be interesting to see what bills make it to the floor other than the budget. This is going to be a very politically charged thing.
Want to thank you for giving that overview of the Wyoming legislature, as well as the city of Laramie matters. Each week, Brett Glass, you come in, and we thank you for doing so here on 93.5 FM. Just another couple notes. Relay for Life daffodil and tulip sales. Those pre-order deadline for those bouquets, February 13th, that's this Friday. You want to call Pam Brecken, 760-4753. And those deliveries will be available in the Laramie area, only in the Laramie area, around March 24th. And proceeds benefit Albany County Relay for Life and the American Cancer Society. And the Albany County Stock Growers annual dinner dance this Saturday, February 14th as well. You can find out details from Ryan Wilson, 761-1522. And also this weekend, you'll have the occasion to celebrate birthday, Valentine's Day, and 2 years anniversary in business at 1951 Snowy Range Road in West Laramie. That's the home of Snowy Range Flea Market and Farm Stand. Also, Saturday, the 13th annual Sportsman's Raffle, where they will be at the University of Wyoming Fieldhouse. Open doors, 5 p.m., 6 p.m. dinner and drawings. All proceeds support the Ivinson Memorial Hospital, Meredith and Jeannie Ray Cancer Center. And that, in its 13th year, a celebration you may not want to miss. Also, unique to Laramie, Tim Tebow Foundation presents Laramie's Night to Shine, and that is at the Hilton Garden Inn at the University of Wyoming Conference Center in the Hilton Garden Inn, and the New Life Church group organization, proud. Still, tickets may be available for that, and volunteer positions also needed, filled. You can look online at New Life Church, Laramie's Night to Shine, and you will find out all the details for that. In what an uplifting opportunity this week in Laramie, Wyoming. These messages brought to you in the public interest by Dan Passman, Union Home Mortgage, 208 Grand Avenue in Laramie, and I-80 Towing and Automotive Services, 3830 Cherrywood Loop East in Laramie, and the Benton Rusty, 308 South 2nd Street. All support welcome at the Talk Shop. We appreciate you and thank you. Have a great day, everybody.